Serious contestation within the PAC about the legality and legitimacy of the recently held conference. Two contrasting leaders come to the agenda program to justify or dismiss the recent conference and its outcomes. The newly elected Deputy President Mbuyiselo Gantsu will argue on the legitimacy of the conference, but Mr. Narius Moloto will argue that the recent conference is illegitimate and illegal. There will be, well, he's in studio right now. They will be joining us at different times. They refuse to be in studio at the same time. But for more on the story now, we now welcome Mr. Moloto into the studio and would like to welcome him. Let's talk about the elective conference. You've called it a sham. Welcome to the agenda. Why do you say that?
In the first place,
it's a legitimate process of electing leaders.
Yes. Now, in the first place, let me say PAC is a registered political party in this country. It has been registered, it has been contested election, and it is having a headquarters, it has a leadership in terms of the NEC of the PAC. Now, for the past the people that held the conference there, were expelled, were formerly members of the PAC and were expelled, are no longer in the PAC. During 2013, we were with them in court, they've lost. During 2014, before the national election, we were with them in court, they've lost. Before we go to the local government election in 2016, they were there in court, they've lost. They know they've lost, they are not members of the PAC. Now, before they can gain the membership of the PAC, the status of them being expelled people remain. Now, we do not even understand why they're being called faction. For us, there are non-issues that are outside the PAC. What we are contesting is that they are using the name and the logos of the PAC. For that, we have actually even complained, lodged a fraud and misrepresentation case, and the works are dealing with that.
So it's back to the courts again?
Look, these people are not our members. What they are doing, they are polluting the PAC space deliberately so, and they do so at all times when the elections are approaching. If I can tell you, in 2014, we were allowed to register 4 days before the elections because of the same people. They get court orders with cost all the time. During the local government election, they went there, we almost did not participate. Who took the PAC there? On what basis do we then call them the faction of the PAC?
Yeah.
Because they're outside. But let me go a step further. Even that particular conference, it was interdicted. There was a court order there. The police went there to try to remove them and they refused. Now, if the court is there, we are in a constitutional democracy. If there's a court order, you cannot you cannot have a legitimate meeting in that particular, unless we just disregard court orders as pieces of paper with no meaning.
A person who's a member of the PAC will probably have full knowledge of the story, but for the benefit of our national viewership, let's just backtrack. And to expel a member is a very drastic action.
Yes.
Why were these members expelled to begin with?
These members were expelled for misconduct at various times after they were charged, and they brought before the National Disciplinary Committee, which is the structure of the PAC dealing with misconduct. From time to time we have those issues, but they're isolated. They ought to be dealt with internally in terms of the prescript of the PAC constitution. Now, therefore, once they have done and they are concluded, and a person is not happy, he goes to court. And in this particular case, these people, all of them irrespective, they went to court and they've lost. Why the legitimacy of the leadership of the PAC has to be challenged without showing any cause? If they come here and said, we are now being reinstated into the PAC, we're a faction, then we can understand.
What needs to happen for there to be unity?
Unity of the PAC?
Yes.
Unity of the PAC will happen within the PAC. You'll remember that after our
So
our
you're
national
completely
conference,
disregarding this section of people?
No, I'm coming there. Unity of the PAC we have created a three-team committee to talk to people that left the party. We have declared amnesty because that's the only way you can do. To say that because you have exited this party through expulsion and we are operating outside the party, we are making this opening. It ran for 6 months until the 30th of June this year. where we said all people that were expelled, please come back, work from within. We were aware of the activities outside the
Are there any people who returned?
Yes. Alton Mpeti is one of them. Alton Mpeti, after we extended the amnesty to him and after having discussions with him, he has agreed. That's basically why Lutatu Mbinda was eventually left Parliament, because we have to take him there as a party. Where we feel very, very strong is that as a party we must be respected.
Yeah.
We cannot be equated to people who have expelled.
So you completely disregard the election of Mr. Nyonso?
Yes, because he's not a member of the PAC. Therefore, you cannot be elected into the position of the PAC if you are not a member. The provisions of the constitution of the PAC are very clear. 5.1, you can only go to a conference if you are a member, you are a delegate, you are from the structure of the PAC, you are paid up. Those people are not paid up in our records. They are not members, they are not in the record. They've exceeded through expulsions, and that position still stands. The court ruled, the court orders are in position. When they come here and argue that, they should be able to show you that they've set aside the court rulings and orders.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Secondly, that they've regained the PAC membership. That's the only basis in which a person can begin to say I'm something. But when we become disruptive, our disciplinary code is very instructive on the behavior of members and leaders, on how we should all behave. Now, what we've observed over time on this, the behavior of these people, their contact in public, and they're just not qualified to be members of the PAC again.
It has been said that you've lost the throne in the conversation about land in South Africa, and that the EFF has overtaken the PAC in this regard. What are your plans in terms of regaining that throne?
The PAC will never lose the throne on the debate or on the land issue. Land issue and the politics of this country today are centralized over the land issue. We are not talking the same language. We are talking of expropriation without compensation. We are talking repossession. That has been the fundamental position of the PAC since its inception, and we haven't changed that. No political party talked that language.
So in a pre-election year where parties are putting together manifestos, what should anybody looking at their options think? What is the PAC? What does the PAC stand for?
PAC has been the future party of choice for particularly African people, but we have also been joined by the white people in numbers, and we are very happy. We have people have been flooding into the PAC in waves that I haven't seen, and we've been managing that particular process. We are happy. We'll definitely do.
We don't see that in election numbers, though.
In election numbers, look, I'm talking now what I'm experiencing, because all these people that come, particularly the young people that are coming through the party, to the party offices through the ranks of the party. I'm meeting them, I'm seeing them, I'm spending more time with the people than in the offices. And what we are seeing in almost a number of provinces is the continued growth of the party, and we are getting the right people with the right talent. These people that continue to throw dust on the PAC have always been there, and they failed to help the party to grow.
The Pan-Africanist Congress has sometimes been accused, and I don't know if it's rightly so, to only to be elitist and only to attract educated black people. Now, a young educated person in 2018 who's looking at their options for voting in 2019, how do you bring them into your fold?
Yeah, look, there might be those mistakes, but PAC was created for largely what we could call semi-literate and illiterate. Led those people quite. They've been in the ranks of the PAC. Those were the majority. Now, in building up the party, we've been concentrating more on the grassroots, but we are working throughout all the strata, because we cannot just work on one section of the population. We are satisfied that now there is that balance, and that balance is working well for the party for now.
How will you be fighting the 2019 election? What's your strategy?
Look, our strategy is that first, we are starting with our structures. We've been building the election infrastructure. We have failed to do so in the past. We have not successfully gathered our own votes. Secondly, we are now working with the masses, with the communities far more better than we have done in the past. And we believe these masses have shown interest and they've shown support and sympathy to the PAC, and we believe they will come in numbers. Once we have the election infrastructure, and once we are able to manage, and once we can able to have the party agent well trained and educated, will do well.
Representing a constituency in Parliament is quite a mammoth task.
Yes.
If a potential voter asks you, if you can't sort out differences within your party, how will you be able to sort out my concerns and the legal process in Parliament?
PAC is the only party that is able to sort its differences and its issues promptly. And you cannot come and point out the differences within the PAC that it has not sorted out. The people that regroup themselves as expelled people and present themselves as a difference to the PAC are a non-issue towards the PAC. They are not of our concern. We do not have authority over those people. We are not seeking one. Therefore, we proceed and do progress. PAC is growing, and PAC is the party of the future. The people of this country will see it sooner or later.
You're not seeking authority from them? Are you not even extending an olive branch?
We'll do so through a committee. There's a committee, and they know that committee has been meeting people. We do care, and for that reason, but we do respect our constitution. We cannot act outside the framework of the constitution. Otherwise, we can as well close shop, and that we cannot compromise.
Are you contesting the elections next year, and whose face will be on the ballot paper?
We do. It will be my face.
How does the voter know the difference?
Between who and who?
Here am I in the ballot box about to vote. Here is Narius Moloto's face.
Yes.
Is he the PAC that I think it is? You might want to paper over it, but it's a real issue. It's a real concern.
What is the real issue? The fact that people have been expelled?
The fact that there's a perception that the PAC is divided.
No, that perception will have to deal with it going forward. Perceptions are reality, I accept. However, that does not prevent the organization from going forward.
And that perception probably affects you at the polls.
No, the people that, look, it has been there. I think, and I want to believe we have managed to overcome that particular perception. These people are recycling what happened in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. They've always been there. And we have concluded as the leadership, and the membership of the PAC have also concluded, these people are a project, because each time they come during the elections and they advance this narrative.
What do you think is fueling the project?
Those who handles them.
Who are those people?
They know them. You should ask them.
What do they
better.
stand to benefit?
Because the PAC, as a liberation movement, as a political party, shouldn't gain. They are actually advancing the same interests which were concluded by the Sneyman Commission, that the PAC must be destroyed. It's a dangerous organization, and that is not so.
In 2018?
In 2018.
What's the way forward? We're speaking to them after you.
Speak to them,
yes.
Tell them, and let them. If you ask me the proof that they were expelled, I'll actually produce it. If you want a proof that we've been in court with them in those years, I'll produce it. If you also say to them, are there court orders, have you failed to restore your membership of the PAC, they must answer those questions. With regard to that conference, it was interdicted. Therefore, in terms of law, it cannot produce leadership. It's wrong. It's an insult to our judiciary.
Are you satisfied with the 1% representation that you have in Parliament?
No, that's not a reflection of support.
It is a reflection.
Not of the support and of the membership of the PAC, and that will change. What we wanted to do was to stabilize the party, and we have managed to do so. Party is far more stapled, and we are focused. And these things are intended to defocus us. and to take our attention to where we do not believe, and we're not going there.
How will you change it, and how do you hope to make the PAC's presence in Parliament felt?
By deploying the correct people, the people that can able to articulate the policies and the line of the party. That has been lacking. We've been putting people there who just become not good enough to do so. And the party did not benefit.
That's
the voters did not benefit.
That's another reflection of failure.
That we are correcting. Now, first we have to make sure that the party has disciplined members and leaders. And that we have managed to do. No any other party was able to do that better than the PAC. Anybody knows that you misbehave, misconduct yourself in the PAC, you are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care.
Mr. Moloto, your posture and your language kind of reflects a stubborn person.
No.
Do you think you have an open door? Do you listen to other people and what they have to say? Does it mean anything to you that the PAC needs to grow as a party in order to have impact or influence in Parliament?
I want to believe that I'm the most open and frank person. I engage anybody anytime. I'm also a trade unionist. I talk to a number of people across the board. We do. But when it comes to the Constitution, in the PAC is our Bible inside. It's like when you go to church, you read it first. And that is where we don't negotiate. We can go and negotiate on how we can deal with other aspects. That's fine. That's why we keep on exploring, even now, with regard to this gentleman. We called them, they've been to the PAC headquarters.
He says this
and we've
gentleman.
been saying to them, look, what are you looking for?
You can call him by name.
Yes.
What's the way forward?
On what? Now, the way forward is that the PAC is moving forward.
I mean, the biggest talking point now is that they've had this elective conference. And that doesn't mean nothing, although that's what you say.
But that's not the PAC program. And it doesn't concern the PAC. What we are doing now, immediately, we'll prevent them from using our name and our logo. That will do. That concerns us. That's an issue, a big issue to the leadership and to the membership of the PAC. We have taken steps, and we now go to make sure that those steps are totally and completely enforced.
How are you handling the legal costs? Are they not bleeding the pockets of the PAC?
They are. Look, we've been bleeding since 2013. We've been paying, you see, to take one matter to court is $500,000, if not more, each time. It has been taxing. It's something that we dislike. If something can be done to avoid that, it can be done like tomorrow. But that cannot be equated to protecting the party and its interest. Narius Moloto, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us. Thank you. All right, let's